Conversation that we need to have to ensure that we as a country never ever have to experience something of that nature ever again. Now today we have roped in a man who found himself in the middle of the tragedy of that dark day in football. Good morning, Putco Mafani, and thank you so much for joining us on Sports on Morning Live.
Well, good morning to you, and thanks for having me. And it's an honor, on this day, the 11th of April, 21 years later.
Certainly, but Putco, we have young viewers who are sitting at home who may have been 5 years old, 8 years old at the time that this incident took place and probably don't fully understand what happened. Can you just talk us through what happened on that fateful day on the 11th of April 2001?
Well, the game had been a highly contested Soweto Derby, with Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates being one of the biggest Soweto derbies in the world. I mean, one of the derbies in the biggest derbies in the world. And this one, they had been neck and neck with opportunities of winning the Premiership title, both of them. And Chiefs were doing very well. And Pirates were doing very well. On the Saturday before this, we had just beat Jomo Cosmos 2-0 at Ellis Park Stadium. And then this game was very fast, and Chiefs scored first through Nigerian international forward Tony Ilodigwe. And Pirates, within no time, equalized through Benedict Villagazi, and all happening within the first 20 minutes. And while outside, and it was a Wednesday, you must remember, while outside people were still looking for tickets and buying tickets. And unfortunately, these were the days when you could buy tickets at the stadium, when tickets were made available at the stadium, when the Soweto Derby would be played midweek, which is one of the things that we learned later, never to play the Soweto Derby again. And a problem happened then because people were having tickets and people were pushing. And there were those who were impatient, looking for tickets and couldn't find tickets. And they were also pushing into the stadium. And within no time, we could see bodies carried through the entrance of the northeastern pavilion coming into the stadium. And I ran to see what's happening there, together with Andrew Dipila, who was the match commissioner of the night. Then he had been working as the general manager of the PSL. And we went to check and found out that, actually people, these were bodies, they were no longer people. Some were people that were still alive, and some were people that were certified dead by the emergency services right on the field behind the goal posts on the northeastern side of the stadium. And that's when we discovered that something had terribly gone wrong, because there was a lot of anxiety, there was a lot of excitement, and being a Wednesday midweek with football spectators having come from all over South Africa and beyond, coming for this game.
But Putco, at that moment, when you realize that something is wrong, you decide to take charge of the situation. I mean, it's nothing anyone could have scripted, no one could have rehearsed it. Talk us through the minute where you realize, I need to step up in this moment and try and ensure that this catastrophe is not as bad as it can be.
Well, one of the things that I did was to agree with Dipila that this game has to stop. And my colleagues were also running, particularly in the marketing department, Emmy Casaletti and Vivian, together with the late Zodwa Koza from Orlando Pirates. They were running crazy as well and literally crying, And so one of the things that we decided quickly on the spot with Andrew is that the game had to stop. So we told the Met official that people were dying. He's got to call the assistant referee to raise his flag, to bring it to the attention of the referee that we have a crisis. And so they did. And at first the referees were a bit hesitant. They thought that if we stopped the match, then we would have a more serious problem. But we told them that we have to stop because there was a problem outside, so we can address this. And I grabbed the microphone because by virtue of, having been the public relations officer of Kaizer Chiefs, I also was the match events automatic MC. So I had the microphone in my hand and went for a very short silent prayer and went for it and told the people that we had to stop the match because there were people that were dying outside. People were dying outside. And by then I had seen dead bodies, although they were not counted yet. The number kept increasing from 28 at some stage. We saw 28 people that had died. And then the number kept going up. By then, the chairman of the league, Ivan Koza, together with the chairman of Kaizer Chiefs, Kaizer, were on the field. The Minister of Sport, Monde Balfour, was on the field as well, together with the CEO of the Premier Soccer League, Dr. Robin Peterson. And so given a chance, I don't know if I would be able to do it again, because you were right when you said it wasn't scripted. It wasn't rehearsed. Somebody had to put together very kind and persuasive words to get people not to panic, to convince people that things were under control, that the situation outside had been bad a little earlier, but it's now under control, and to command them to put down vuvuzelas, to command them at some stage to stand up for a moment of silence, to command them to sit down and listen to the leadership. And so the leaders had an opportunity also then to talk to them,
Yeah. But Putco, thank you so much for your time this morning. We did just want to commemorate this day and just remember what we've been through as a country in football and remember where we never want to go back. So thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
That is, of course, Putco Mafani. He was there on that fateful day in South African football. And also, SK was also at the stadium on that day. It was really a sad day for South African football, one that we never, ever want to experience ever again. But that's where we'll wrap up your sports bulletin in this hour. Here are your morning headlines with SK.